Hello, everybody. NC4XL, North Carolina for Extreme Lovers. Oh, I'm not. Just an old man getting older. We have a awesome group of new people showing up, and I hope that if you watch this video and you think it's important enough that you'll tell people about it, maybe they'll come by and listen to it. This video is primarily to the hunters, in other words, all the new hunters that are out there, to try and understand all the different activators. Each one of us are like children. We talk different, we act different, we do different. And as a ham operator, we have so many different irons in the fire, directions that we travel, styles, and so forth. So what I put together is something for the hunters. I hope that you'll take the time to listen to it a couple times and see if any of this fits. I wrote some notes, so you're going to see me put my glasses on and glasses off because I can't see what I'm doing. Happens when you get a little older. So let's see where we get started. The type of activations that you're going to be listening to out there are really unique. It's not what you're thinking. You got some hit and gets. A hit and get where that operator and or operators are going to a park, and all they're going to do before the activity starts, the baseball games, the eating, the boating, the hunting, or whatever, they're going to go there, make the contacts to make it a legitimate activation, which is 10, always get 12, and if you can get a few more, just to cover yourself from fat fingering. But that activator out there is really just going to do enough for the activation that time will allow. Okay? So when that activator goes out there and you think that you're going to get them, you may not. And that's because that's what that activator chooses. Remember, the whole time the activator's style is theirs, and it can be very unique. Then that activator who just did that hit and get might be doing this. They're on a row, 5 different parks within a UTC, 10 different parks within a UTC, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40. Believe it or not, there are activators that will run those kind of activations, and they are hit and get. If you're in line and listening, you might get lucky, but don't get mad. That's that activator's choice and style. Just see what you can do. Some of the activators that you'll be working, they get in the habit of staying on 20 and 40 because 20 and 40 are the most convenient ham sticks that people purchase. Okay, so you'll see a lot of 20 and 40, and I've been trying to really promote get off the standard bands and go where there's a little bit different. Okay, they'll use a Wolf River coil, and if they have 2 collars on it, well then they can, again, they're going to go 20 and 40, it seems standard. Or they'll use a buddy pole. They'll use a delta loop. Do like me, get too lazy to jump up and down off of the car, I use an ATOS, which covers multiple bands on the Yaesu FT891 or the Yaesu line. Some people use a screwdriver antenna or a tar heel. And remember, the activator is who you're chasing, and their style of equipment has nothing to do with you. It's what they can afford, it's what they have where they're at, etc. So work them the best you can. Now, Some activators will go out and do a 30-minute run, and they're done. They got enough contacts, they've had their feel for the day, they've listened to enough lids get on there and tune up, they've listened to enough bad amateur radio operator conduct, and they've had enough, and they say go. And they do. And when they say they're QRT, they've already turned the radio off. So calling for them afterwards generally doesn't work. And then you got people like me. I'll stay 3, 4, 5 hours. And then you have some of these activators who do this. They're camping. And so today they started out in that park. And they worked you. And tonight, after 7 o'clock, we switch over to the new UTC date. You get another opportunity to work them again in the same park. That's a new contact, a new date. Everything is based on a UTC time. If you're an activator and you're listening, or a hunter and you're listening and want to activate, and you go camping, if you're camping in the campground and you started at 7:30 at night and you get on the magic band 40 meters or 20 meters and you work it and you have an awesome time and you get up in the morning, you can continue on in the same log, and you don't have to create another log, in the same log, and keep working that park, because in the same UTC date. Okay? So you can, after 7 or 8 o'clock at night in the campground, work it, in the morning get back up and continue working. Yes, you'll run into dupes. Don't worry about it. Let the software pick the dupes out. Just go out and have fun. Okay? If you're in a twofer, that's 2 different logs. If you're in a threefer, that's 3 different logs. In N3FJP, there's a term called bulk editing. You create one log, get it completely done, save it as the original log, then save it again as a second log, park number, go back, do your bulk edit of the park number and the name, and voila. But that's another story. Activators, dial. This is a touchy subject because people get mad and they voice themselves on Facebook, which is, hiding behind a keyboard. Don't get mad at an activator because he or she wants to do OAAT, one at a time. You're not out there. You don't hear 45, 50 people or 100 people hitting the metal at one time, from 100 watts to 1,000 watts. So you have to figure their style. How are they receiving people? One at a time, and they log it in their device, or they one at a time and they're writing it on paper, or one at a time, and you get bored. You don't have to get mad. Literally, if the pileup's that big, spin the dial, come back. Some people will take a list. Oh, I resemble that. I do it all the time, and I can run 300, 400, 500 contacts in a 4-hour period. That's because I've trained myself. I'm not saying everybody else can do that. But that's how I work it, because I don't mind coming home. I'm retarded. I can come home and I can put it in the log. That's what I do. Then you got us activators who are going to do this. DX only, and you get mad, or you get upset, or you spin the dial. I'm not waiting. Or, what do you think about the DX stations that, I wish they'd call for DX. They're having to wait. Same thing with the stations that are QRP. I don't do QRP. I respect every person that does QRP. That takes a lot of guts to go down to that low level. I pat Kevin. I've worked him on a 500 milliwatt. Not once, not twice, many times. And every time I get to work him, if he's at 5 watts or 1 watt, I'll tell him to drop it down. Why? Because that's what he likes, and I want him to receive some of the warm fuzzies from it, okay? not just him. Then we have YLs. If I hear YL's voice, I'm going to put her at the front of the line. That's me. Not everybody does that, but think about it. Listen for the YLs, guys and gals. Now, as I said, DX, they struggle because they already have a dialect different, and we're not really paying attention. So if we make ourselves as activators pay attention and listen for the DX, it's up to you hunters to allow us to do that, get them worked. I always check for park to park. So park to park, I give preference to. Why? Because I know what it took to get there. I know what it takes to get a system set up. I know what it takes to fight the bugs and having to go pee and all those other things that people don't realize when we sit home. Okay. Two other subjects and I'll get off of here. The time that an activator takes to set up, if they run an infid like what I do, it could take up to 25-30 minutes, or the delta loop, or the buddy pole. Some people use the hitch on their vehicle and they'll mount it there like the Eagle. It takes time. Well, if it took time to put it up, it's going to take approximately the same amount of time to take it down. So understand when those people say they got to go because the park's closing and they still have to take the system down. Now, if they're in a hamstick, that doesn't make no sense, does it? But if it's other types of antennas, it makes a lot of sense. You ever try to take down an antenna in the dark when you can't see in the first place, like me, that I need glasses to see? Last topic, hunters. Last topic. If there's multiple operators, I'm at a club event, I'm at a hamvention, I got crazy enough to get around James Mon, I got crazy enough to get around Curtis, I got crazy enough to get around Brian, I get crazy enough to get around Carrie. Oh, I would love to meet Carrie. And the list goes on of many activators that we'd all love to spend some time with and activate with. When you put them together, and if there's a known group or a family, the Rose family, a known group, when they say, and 5 other operators, and in their listing, it shows in the comment section all 5 calls. Some hunters get very aggravated and want to talk with each one. That's your choice. And sometimes during a pileup from Hades, you can't get in, so the activators there may do like what I do. Name the call signs of the parties and keep on going, or hand it one at a time. But if they tell you that there's 2 or 3 operators, when I work the family up in Tennessee, I'll work Blake, or I'll work Ryan, or I'll work Andrew, and I'll exchange a signal report, and I'll acknowledge when they tell me 3 or 4. 4 is when mom's working JLF. Okay, they're all there, and I have to take them at their word that they're there. And you as a hunter need to start realizing, take the people at their word and start having some trust in people. Yeah, there's going to be some deceptive people. There's that in life everywhere we go. But when you have big ham conventions and things like that, there's going to be big, long lists of operators there. If you doubt it, go to your hunter's log, see if they uploaded it, take your notes, and be the whatever type person that you don't want to do that. And if that's another thing, if you don't want to work them because they're not working your style, spin the dial. Roll on. Don't worry about it. Don't get on Facebook and complain, well, they didn't do this or they didn't do that, because none of that is going to create my famous little words. Let's create positive in ham radio. Let's create positivity in ham radio. I don't think people are going to go out and steal a contact or imply that they worked you when they never did. And if they're the ones cheating, that's going to be on them in more ways than one. Karma will come back and it will bite that party's anatomy, I can assure you. I appreciate you taking the time as a hunter to listen to some of the different things as activators and the style of activators that are out there so that we all can go forward and have fun. And if you get crazy enough and you want to go out to activate, follow some of the other videos I put about how to do it. There's many other YouTubers. I'm not the only one. I'm just an old man that can share different techniques, different styles, different methods to going out in a park and enjoy what you see there. May God bless one and all. November Charlie 4 X-Ray Lima. North Carolina for extreme lovers. No, just the darling old man. 73s.